Hey Zips fans, Spencer German, of course, of the Zips Digital Network, joined by the head coach of the Akron women's soccer team, Noreen Herlihy, as we meet virtually this time. A little different than what we're used to, I know, Coach. First off, I'll just start off by asking just how are you holding up? Where are you right now? How have you been sort of handling this obviously very just unprecedented situation?
Well, obviously, like everybody else, just doing our part, staying at home as much as we can, and just making do what we have to do. There's no real choice at this time, and I don't think it's while it's inconvenient, obviously, Spencer. We just kind of got to look at the bigger perspective and just make sure that we're doing right and staying at home as much as we can, and just see how this unfolds over the next several weeks. But I'm doing well. I'm healthy. My hair is going a bit long, as you can see. I'm seeing how far I can go, but it's all good. I can't complain. Ultimately, considering what some people in this country are going through.
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, everyone dealing with things differently and dealing with a lot more extreme situations than what we are. So obviously, very blessed to hear you're doing well and that everything's keeping going. I guess we'll start sort of as we talk more about just your team, how you're doing, and all that kind of stuff. With looking back on last season a little bit, because obviously, as you've now going into year 5 or 6 that you've been with the Akron Zips, you've sort of built each and every year, and you've gotten a little bit more successful, and you've sort of seen this just growth. And I can even speak to the last 2 years that I've been here, from last year to this past year, just the growth that your team made and how much more competitive they were in games. It's obvious that that's there. Just I'm curious how you are feeling about your program at this time, as you've sort of been able to be the mastermind, if you will, behind building this into what it's been.
Well, first of all, I really appreciate, those kind words. Yes, it's been a lot of work since we got there, but, I don't take full credit for that solely. Obviously, a lot of the decisions rest on my shoulders, but I have a very good staff that work with me diligently. So yes, Spencer, we've come a long way in the last 4 or 5 seasons, especially in the last 3. And to go from like a team that was stuck in bottom of the MAC, as you well know, for several years, got there to the first year or 2 when we were there. Let's be real, that was still the case, to going from like 12th to 8th to 6th to 4th this past year is a testament to the work that's been put in by the staff and certainly by the players and even the support staff. So we definitely are gaining momentum, and we're proud of that, and the players feel it. And there's a whole different vibe now within the program. I think sometimes we often talk about culture, but I think winning brings that culture, you know what I'm saying? And so I think we've seen a massive transition. I mean, when you look at the current group that are currently juniors right now, going to be seniors, when they were really our first actively recruited class as freshmen. And we started 8 freshmen that year in 2017. And, we only won, I think, like a handful of games, if less than that. And so the fact that they've qualified for the MAC conference tournament the last 2 years in a row is a testament to their growth, even as young players. So they're the kids that, when I'm talking to them, they're like, oh, it's so much different than our freshman year. Yeah, you expect it to be, and you want it to be, because that shows the progress. And so, yes, we're definitely a far more competitive team in the MAC right now. We absolutely don't fear anybody. But still, we're still a couple of years off where we need to be. But the growth is there, and we're now definitely an extremely competitive program in the MAC. And when we get to that top, that's where we want to stay, to be honest, to be perennially there. So we're still kind of ebbing and flowing because of the youth and the nature of the recruiting classes that we've brought in the last 3 or 4 years now. So there's still going to be, a few ebbs and flows, but the standards are definitely there. If the foundation is definitely there right now, and we want to continue bringing young women into the program that keep that, ambitious mentality.
Yeah, and sort of a nice segue. I know you mentioned the senior class that's coming in this next year as a group that was really, like you said, your first real big recruiting class. Just obviously a little bit different from last year where you only had the one senior and Ashley Amato. This group obviously has become a foundation for the team. So how valuable will it be, you think, going into next season with that solid group of 6, 7 seniors who can obviously bring experience to the table, but also that leadership value to your team as well?
Yeah, they're going to be vital, because we still, as you know, a lot of freshmen started last year. There's some good freshmen coming in this upcoming year that I think are going to make an immediate impact as well. So they know competition for place is going to be tough. But I think the key, whether you're starting on the team or whether you're coming in off the bench to, impact a game in a positive way, whatever your role is in the team. I think how those seniors this year handle themselves on the field, off the field, in the locker room is going to be a testament to the legacy they really want to leave. You know, we talk a lot in our program about, you know, what do you remember when you were a freshman and those seniors? Who did you admire? Who did you look up to? And we'll be certain instilling that again in this upcoming group, because they were there as freshmen when there was really, you know, a bit of turmoil, a bit of transition in the program. And so now it's kind of flattening it out, and it's a lot more stable. It's a lot more steady. As I said, the foundation is great. And they have a big role to play, and how they embrace that role is truly up to them. We'll guide them, we'll encourage them, you know, to be good leaders. But, you know, we truly, I think, Spence, the one thing with Akron women's soccer right now that, you know, we're proud of is that there really isn't any classism in the program. We expect freshmen to be leaders. We expect kids like sophomores like Carly Schlinsky, Sydney Worthy to be leaders. Yeah, they have the most experience, the senior group coming up. And how they are looked up to is going to be vital for them, and how they lead the way and lead as role models. But it goes right through the team. You know, we want to have leaders all over the field. We want to have leaders, you know, in each class and also in each position. That starts from whether it's Libby in goal or Vanessa in goal, how they lead from the back in the game, you know, and the back four, how do they lead, how the midfield leads. It doesn't have to be consigned, you know, assigned to one specific player. And that's kind of the mantra we've been kind of going with the last few years. It's just, it really is a collective effort. You know, we don't highlight one or two players. You know, there's natural leaders in any team, but I think the key part of being a coach as well, or in any leadership position, is you kind of bring the bottom up and get everybody to play truly a part in decision making, and what their thoughts are, and, you know, how we're looking to play. And you know, that's the most important thing for true success, I think. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no. And I think obviously you try to instill that in your team is, you know, everybody has a role. Everybody plays a part in your team's success. So I know we talk about that a lot during our interviews or even off camera, just about how important that is to instill as a value in your team. So with that said, I know we've talked a lot as well about on the recruiting trail, especially with the international players that you recruit, how important, you know, video conferencing and video chatting is, sort of like this. But I'm sure you're not as used to using that for the girls that are currently on your team, you know, so how are you sort of having to utilize that more now, given the current situation? How are you interacting with your team right now? And how are you guys trying to work on training as well during what's obviously something that nobody really expected to happen?
Well, we were fortunate enough, Spencer, that we got to meet with the players right before we left, you know. I mean, there was still that moment where there were still options for teams to continue training a bit. And, you know, that was kind of the infancy stages of this pandemic. But, you know, we kind of like, we've been hearing things from Europe, from my family at home. And so we kind of right away just kind of got, when there was these kind of decisions starting to be made at the university, we just got the team in the very next day, met with them out in the game field, you know, respected social distancing right away, even though that was kind of a new name at that time and a new norm. But so we kind of had the opportunity to meet with those players and really give them an idea. And we sent them all away with a soccer ball, a few cones, you know, some, you know, exercise bands and stuff like that. So, and really the message we gave them, Spencer, was, look, you know, obviously we were having a good spring. They were disappointed to stop, you know, because we've been gaining momentum even since last fall. But as we said to the players in no uncertain terms, look, it's not the end of the world here, right? So you go home, you know, the easiest thing you can do is to get fit. You know, you don't need a coach holding your hand. Here's a ball, here's a band. We will send you out stuff. So we kind of want to take the pressure off of them. Go home, worry about how you're going to transition to online classes, make sure you're safe and healthy, be with your families. Soccer right now, don't freak out about it. And that's kind of always been, Spence, the way I am anyway. It's like I always say to the players, it's far greater problems in the world than losing a game here or there. You know, we always got to kind of keep it real. And you've heard me say these things many times. You've been around me enough. And this was no different, you know. Yeah, we were bitterly disappointed because we were having a great spring. The young players are really excited. We had coming off a great win over Youngstown State, which is always, you know, a good rivalry, and we beat them pretty comfortably. And so, you know, and even one of the players, Kaylee Penn, said, well, I guess we're finishing up the spring undefeated, you know, again. So that's a good thing. So, you know, you got to look at those positives, and that's the mindset we want them to have. So they went away, and we kind of left them alone for the first couple of weeks till the transition. We were just texting back and forth. And then we only had our first Zoom meeting maybe like the week before last or something. They've been Zooming with each other as teammates. So it's been more like I've been calling them every week, you know, making sure we're checking in. I've been on the phone yesterday and the day before, you know, regarding finals, making sure they're okay. So we haven't been like, you know, on them too much. You know, we've just been we have definitely had communications with them when we see fit, when we need to. But the priority for us in the last 3 or 4 weeks was to let them get home, transition into their schoolwork. And so, and we, you know, we had fun on the Zoom, the bit of banter, you know, when we had our Zoom. We'll have another one here pretty soon. But again, we want them to just focus on their finals this week and next, and then we'll reconnect. So it's just been, as coaches, we've been on the phone, simply just, hey, how you doing? Making sure you're okay. It's not like being overly structured where we're mandating Zoom meetings or anything like that. So that's just the personal interconnections, right, into relationships. With regards to the workouts, our strength and conditioning coach, Leslie, has been sending out from day one, you know, stuff they had to do, you know, just being creative, you know, what you have to do at home, especially with some of our players in Europe who were literally couldn't even leave their homes. You know, she was giving them great ideas, and we kind of set up a little Instagram account and they could watch the videos, what she would be suggesting. But again, putting our faith in them, you know what you have to do. You 5 months before the season starts, when we left, to get fit. You know, it's not a difficult task. Pair of runners, t-shirt and shorts, get out and run when you can, enjoy the fresh air. That is the simplest thing you can do as a student athlete, you know, getting ready for next season. So, and as I said, Leslie has been sending out the strength and conditioning programs to them, you know, and if they can do it, great, within the confines of what they're dealing with in each respective state or each respective country. And so that's kind of how we've been going. We haven't been overburdening them. If anything, more just like, these are the things, do what you can. We still have plenty of time to get ready for the season, and we'll take it from there.
All right, we'll end on this one for you. Just what's the thing that maybe you missed the most about being at Akron, at the university, on campus? What's the thing that you're really like, oh man, I'm missing that right now?
Well, I think just being around people, you know, like there's just that human nature, that connection, you know. I'm a bit of a hugger, you know, and so that's going to be a big change for me moving forward, you know. Yeah, just being around the people and seeing the players like on a daily basis, having a bit of a banter with them and a bit of a joke and a laugh and teasing with them, you know, you miss that, you know, definitely miss that. And being around the staff, you know, the bantering in the office, and even colleagues like the track and field who are in our office complex, and men's soccer. So definitely just that human connection. I mean, it's great that we have FaceTime and Zoom meetings and all that stuff, but there's nothing like that, just human interaction on just like a personal level. And so we look forward to that, and I'm sure it's going to be, life will go on. It'll go on in a little slightly different way, but I keep thinking, Spence, and again, I said this to some of my players when I was chatting to them yesterday, you know, as inconvenient as this is, we're at least, you know, we still have to be mindful of, you know, the tragedies that are going on across the country and the terrible loss of lives. We're only observing it from a distance. And, you know, we're very fortunate that we're actually not experiencing it right now. So long may that continue. And we just got to think and keep our prayers and thoughts on all those people that we just don't even know, that are just really going through heartbreak and devastation every day. So with that being said, you know, I think we're pretty lucky overall.
Yeah, no, it's very well said. And I think that's a good point there. And obviously I am interested to see, I think everyone is, just how life is maybe a little bit different when we do get back, in terms of just like how people at stores manage cleaning things and how people like interact with each other. So it'll be very fascinating, but I agree that human interaction, the whole idea of social distancing just isn't for me either. Like I'm somebody who likes being around people too. So I'm 100%. But
so maybe next time you see me, Spence, I'm trying to see if I can grow my bangs down to maybe my chin and be like that singer Sia. Is that her name? Sia.
Yeah.
There we go. I'll come back into pre-season with like Sia. You know, I'm actually thinking I might do a challenge right now. But look, it's but hey, it's all good. It always could be worse.
Yeah, I like the flow. It's all good.
Small stuff.
All right, Coach. Well, we appreciate you joining us as always. Thank you so much for the time. For you guys who watched, obviously, thanks for tuning in as always. And for Coach and myself, you can say it with me, but go Zips.
Go Zips.